Welcome to this edition of the Times Techies webinar series. My name is Sujit John, and I have with my colleague Shilpa Fadnis. We are technology and business reporters at TOI, and both of us have been with TOI a long time. The two of us will moderate this discussion. Our discussion today is on the resurgence of PCs in general and laptops in particular following the pandemic, and the laptops' growing role in content creation. And we are having this discussion in association with ASUS, a Taiwanese PC and electronics company. While 2020 was a bad year for most, it was a remarkable year for PCs because of work from home and remote learning. Research from IDC estimates that in the fourth quarter of 2020, global shipments grew 26% compared to the same quarter in 2019. For the full year 2020, PCs grew 13% compared to 2019. The last time the PC market saw annual growth of this magnitude was in 2010. After that, there were 6 years of PC market decline and 1 year when growth was flat. To discuss this great resurgence, we have with us Arnold Su. Arnold is the business head for consumer and gaming PC in ASUS India. He has been with ASUS for more than 9 years, all of that in India. He has worked in Pune, in Chennai, and is currently based in Mumbai, though he's today talking to us from Taiwan. During the pandemic, he went to Taiwan and has now been working from there. Arnold was born in Taiwan and holds a bachelor's degree in business administration with a major in the division of technology management and minor in political science. He's a movie buff and an ardent reader. He enjoys jogging and participated in the Tokyo Marathon in February 2014 and the Bordeaux Marathon in October 2004. He also held a 5th ranking in badminton at the 2010 National Intercollegiate Athletic Games men's team in Taipei. Welcome, Arnold. Wonderful having you with us today. For those who are viewing this, you can send your questions on the Facebook comment section and we will have them answered by Arnold in writing to you. Arnold, let me start by asking you,
Sure.
What are the macro trends that you observe in laptop usage due to the pandemic? As I mentioned, IDC estimates this big resurgence, 13%, 26% in the fourth quarter, almost 13% for the year as a whole. Great times for PCs and laptops in particular. What is the general sense that you have?
Sure. Thank you, Sujit. So after the pandemic, I think we can talk about first the globally. Like as you rightly mentioned, the last time when PC has this kind of surge was already back to 2010 and 2011. And after that, it is continually decline. And even if you ask me in the beginning of 2020, to be honest, I will tell you that I won't foresee this kind of growth. And luckily, we are in the industry during the pandemic. PC and laptop somehow become essential, especially for work, for learning, and even you can see for the gaming. Because most of people, when they lock down, when they stay at home, the gaming become one of the key entertainment for them. Because you are not able to go outside for movie, you are not able to go outside for sports, for lots of things, but then you are able to stay at home. And when you have a PC you can help you not only for study, for work, it's for multitasking. Yeah. So after the pandemic, we see the way changed, no matter for work, for shopping, or even for the daily communication with the people. So with a PC, it become essential, like I mentioned. So what we see is the demand become significantly growth, especially for the countries like India. Because if you see before pandemic, when we always talk about the opportunity in India, the PC penetration ratio in India's household is still less than 10%. Yeah, which means more than 90% of the India's household still doesn't have a PC. So this was a point which we already been talking about for several years, that we couldn't really materialize it. And in 2020, this was that we found a chance, because people are kind of forced to buy a PC, especially for the people who has a children at home. They have to buy a PC for their children to study, to learn from home, to a distance learning. And even for lots of people, earlier maybe they go to office to use a traditional desktop to work at office, and now they are have to buy a laptop at home. So I think the main change is the overall behavior of most of the consumer has a significant change. So that's why in the past 1 year, the demand for PC becomes so huge.
This, the India demand compared to the world demand, what do you think happened in India? I don't have India figures for last year, but what is your estimate?
Oh, last year, if we see according to the end consumption, because IDC is more to do with the shipment to India. And if we look at the end consumption, according to Microsoft, because Microsoft, they have their office bundle ratio, right? So if you see 2020's end customers consumption is almost 50% growth in India. If we talk about India, in terms of consumer, and globally around 20%. Overall, globally, entire global is around 20%. And India's growth ratio in 2020 versus 2019 was around 50. Because there are some countries even decline. For example, like Indonesia, the market size is around 3.5 million units a year in terms of consumer. And in 2020, they are slightly declined. But some reason, because for Indonesia, maybe the business type, they don't have a huge warehouse in the country. So when the country locked down, they couldn't have a sufficient stock. So when the country reopened, they need to wait for the new shipment come to Indonesia. Some countries is like this. But in India, most of the PC vendors, like ASUS, most of PC vendors, we have our warehouse in India. So when the pandemic was over, when the country lockdown was open, we are able to immediately ship out our stocks from India warehouse to across the nation. So this is one of the reasons. But overall, it's not like every country has a growth. So some countries even has some minor growth. And consider average, India's performance was much better than global.
Okay. Shilpa?
Arnold, if you can take us through how are laptops evolving, considering that the demand for smartphones has also gone up substantially. If you can talk about the kind of demand that you see from the consumer and the gaming segment.
Sure. Yeah. So as you already mentioned about, people always compare laptop and smartphones. I think in the past few years, already lots of comparison. And I think if in short, what we can see is smartphone till now, although the processing power increased a lot, but smartphone till now is more to do with the content consumption. And for PC is still for the content creation. Which means today for the smartphone, normally what you use is you are consuming the contents, like you are watching a small video, YouTube, or you are using the social media, you are consuming lots of contents. While like you and me, when we are creating our work, we still need to have a proper PC with keyboard, mouse when you want to create things. So I think this is the basic difference in these two devices. And for the PC, right now, if you see over the past few years, yes, there is also a saying that PC industry, maybe the evolving was not that fast compared with smartphone. But if you can see in the past few years, most of the PC vendor also try to bring the new stuffs to this market. Like you see the dual screen laptops, which ASUS introduced over the past few years, and even different PC vendor also try to create, like the recently mobile, like some mobile brands, they try to create a foldable device. But if you see this kind of concept in PC already layer for several years, we have the dual screen, full screen size PC. So, so what I want to say here is these two industry has different technology, and of course both the industry are evolving. But I think till now the main difference, if we see the user scenario, is still based on what you require. So for the PC, the benefit is for consumer PC or gaming PC, the benefit is for a PC, you can use for both creation the content and also you can consume the content. For now, even in India, most of people, they buy a PC, normally will not just use for work, right? You buy a PC, even when you watch a TV, when you use your personal contents, you will still use a PC. So the benefit for PC is for the multitasking. Yeah. So if we go back to your question about the consumer and the gaming, especially for gaming, because the gaming PC are quite powerful. So for the content creators, they can even play the games. They don't really require to buy a separate PC for gaming. They can use the same PC for whatever they want to do.
Arnold, you mentioned some design changes, I mean, some innovations. I didn't fully understand that. Can you explain some of those interesting things that happened in the last 1 year? And especially
Sure.
for things like since video calls and all have increased a lot. I mean, is there something special that is being done for all that?
Yes, for like the one you mentioned, like the video calls. I think video for the voice is very important, right? Whether the voice can be heard properly. So earlier, because normally before pandemic or even before 2019, 2018, we don't really use PC to talk or to do this kind of meeting that often, right? So maybe the video quality or the audio quality was not the first priority in PC industry. Normally it was in the mobile industry. But if you see in 2020, in the second half of 2020, even first half of 2021, you see lots of PC brand. We come with the PC with the voice noise cancellation, even in PC. Yeah, so like this is one of the new change. Because normally in past few years, you never see, but now noise cancellation is also important in the PC industry. Now we are using PC to talk to each other. And also for the multitasking, if you see now, earlier PC is just a keyboard, a main screen. But if you see now, lots of PC brand will come with the second screen in the same PC device. So we apart from the main screen, above your keyboard, there is a second screen on it. Yeah, so you can simultaneously, maybe you are doing your main task. Simultaneously, you in the second screen, you can play. Maybe you are music lover, you are play Spotify, or you can have your WhatsApp screen over there. So multitasking become very important. So the same PC you have dual screen, so you can do in this manner. Yeah.
How's the demand for these second screen kind of laptops and all now in India?
Oh, to be honest, surprisingly, originally we thought maybe due to the prices in the second segment, India's, because right now in terms of the average selling price, India is still at lower side, right? But surprisingly, India's demand is quite huge. Like our ZenBook Pro Duo, the dual screen device, we sold quite well in last year. And if we compare only ASUS internally, India's contribute the number 3 worldwide. Yeah. Only behind US and China in terms of the second screen device consumption in 2020. I mean, within ASUS. For all the brand, because ASUS currently, we are lucky, we are the pioneer for the dual screen device. Yeah. So we see this kind of demand will continue. So this year, we will continue to have more second screen device in India market.
These are mostly individual buyers, is it?
Yes, mostly are individual buyer. Is the consumer segment, not from the commercial segment.
Well, what is your sense? What do people generally use the second screen for? Music or something, or what?
Yes. So to be honest, originally when we designed this, is more for the content creator purpose. Because we thought there is more for professional use, but later on we realized it's more for the consumer. Really, like you mentioned, it's really for like the normal app, like the music app. Or just like a movie app. Yeah, it's not really for the content creation. Yeah, surprisingly, we saw this. Yeah, it means people maybe they are tired when they use their main PC for work, and then they need to take another mobile phone to use. But now they can use everything in the same device. Yes.
Oh, very interesting. Shilpa?
With increased usage of cloud and most tasks being done over the internet, do you see demands from basic versions of laptop vis-a-vis the high performance ones?
Okay, so here I think it depends on what kind of device we can use, and also based on the infrastructure. So for example, like Europe or US and some mature developed countries, their Chromebook market increased a lot because their basic internet infrastructure is ready. So for this kind of cloud computing, that require very strong infrastructure of the internet. Or if the internet speed is too slow, it's very difficult for them to connect, right? But still, even for those countries, this kind of device still mainly for education or for some government usage. For the personal end users, still they prefer to have a much more powerful laptop in his own. He doesn't rely on the internet, because even till now, even you go to a developed countries, although the infrastructure is good, but still you are not able to 100% rely on it. So currently what we see is consumers still prefer to buy a proper laptop instead of you mean like you mentioned the downsized version, just rely on the internet. But maybe moving forward, maybe next 5-10 years, if the internet technology can become like the 5G, or even maybe after 5 years, the 6th generation come to the picture, maybe this will be the trend. But at least till now, the 4G and even 5G currently, we see still the traditional PC will still be there. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. The education segment, I've always wanted to know this, and I'm also trying to understand from you and your own experience. I would imagine, even I have a son sitting at home and learning remotely. I mean, all the classes are happening remotely. I would imagine a lot of people would have bought laptops or needed laptops for their kids. Has that been a big driving segment? And what proportion of sales do you think in the last 1 year would have come because of this need for laptops for school education or college education?
Sure. So for the education and for students, basically there are two different ways in terms of business. One is the tender business. For those, the school or government, they directly purchase and give to the students. And the second one is still back to the normal consumer, which means you and me, we buy a laptop for our son or for our daughter. Yeah. So if you talk about the government tender or school, this kind of the tender business is still occupy around 15 to 20% of India's total PC business. Yeah. It means the school, they already bulk purchase, and then when the student subscribe, pay, then they get a laptop. And basically still around 30 to 40% business come from the individual consumption. Means you and me, we go to retail market, go to online to buy, and then just give to our students, to our son, to our daughter to use. I think maybe the reason, few reasons. One, I think for the tender business, because they still can only offer the very basic laptops. And nowadays, I believe our children, they really want to have a powerful machines, right? Yeah, so they are not satisfied just to use a normal machines. And especially now, the gaming industry is booming. So most of the children, the young generation, they prefer to have a laptop, not just for study, but also they can play the basic games, or even if they are engineers, they want to do have a better software to use. So I think this is also why parents, they still prefer to go to the shop to buy a proper machines for their students, for their children.
But so you're saying even tier 2, tier 3 cities, I mean, people prefer slightly better laptops. So these government schemes are not very popular. What is your sense?
I think government schemes will still be there, but because government schemes cannot cover the entire country, right? So for the people who are not be covered, if we focus on talking about the individual consumer when they make a buying decision, what we observe is during the past 6 months, especially after May, because the country was reopened after mid of May. So we see the average selling price in PC industry are moving upward. It's not moving downwards. So I think what we study is, because now the parents or even the students, when they know they have no choice, they must buy a machine. And if there's just a matter of 5,000 Indian rupees, 10,000 Indian rupees, and they can choose a machine, and in India, because you use the PC still more than 3-4 years or even 5 years. So I guess this might be one of the reasons parents decided, okay, let's buy a better one instead of just buy a 20,000 laptop, which is just a basic requirement. So we see not only our brand, the overall average selling price in this industry is moving upward. in the past 5-6 months.
And private
and
schools,
especially gaming, especially the gaming in machines. If you compare 2020 to 2019, in like I just mentioned, overall PC industry in India was around 50% growth, right? But the gaming was double. Compared with 2019, was double.
so what percent are you talking about?
That means 100% growth. So in
100%,
2019, entire India's PC market was around 160,000 pieces. And 2020 was more than 300,000.
100,000.
So it's almost double the market. Yeah.
Okay. Just to step back into that school thing, what do schools, private schools in particular, prefer? Do they prefer PCs, or do they also have tablet options and all that?
Oh, yes. So we see, so right now, no matter tablets or PC, both are different choice. So some schools, they do choose the tablets. But the problem for tablets, or I mean the pros and cons are there, but for the schools, they still choose PCs. Finally, they still want this device should be able to do the content creation job, not just the consumption. Yeah. And also that is why currently in India, the 2-in-1 PC demand is increasing, because 2-in-1 PC is basically like a tablet, right? You can just, it's a convertible device. Yeah, so you can use it as a tablet. So 2-in-1 demand is increasing. So right now, 2-in-1 already occupy almost 7% of PC's business, PC market. Oh. Already 7%.
I see. The ones where you can take out the monitor and make it into a tablet inside.
Yeah, either there are two options. One is you can detach, and the other one is you can do 360-degree convertible. Okay. Two ways, yes.
Okay. Super.
Yeah, companies have increasingly, shipped a lot of work home. We see a lot of employees working from home. How do you see this segment growing when it comes to work from home and companies being one of the largest buyers of, desktops and laptops?
Yes. So indeed, if you see in 2020, the desktop market was declined. Yeah, compared with laptop continued to grow, and the laptop market was bit declined. And also for the big government business was also bit declined, because in 2020, for the corporates, they reduced their purchase. But there are some changes. Some corporates, they decided to give the budget to the employees. And for example, I give you 50K budget, you can go to buy and then come back to claim. So instead of earlier, what they do is they give a tender. I want to buy 1,000 laptop, 2,000 laptop. So last year, what we see is some corporates, they change the way they procure. They give the budget and then you can buy. So for the corporates, but for 2021 onwards, we think it will continue, it will come back and continue to grow for the corporate laptop device. But desktop, for sure, it will not. It will still decrease, continue to decrease in desktop segment. Yes.
You mentioned this big growth in gaming PCs. What kind of PCs are these gamers looking for? Real high-end ones, is it?
Not exactly. So because in gaming there are different kind of segmentation. For example, maybe you and me, we can call ourselves as a casual gamer. We are not a really hardcore gamer. We just want to play games time to time. So for the people like us, as a casual gamer, maybe we just require a laptop with the proper graphics card. For example, the MS350 or maybe GTX 1650, which costs us Indian rupees like sub 60,000 Indian rupees, between 50 to 60K. But for the people who wants to attend esports tournaments, there are lots of esports tournaments. Even as we are conducting the esports tournaments, so they are not yet reached the professional one. But maybe you can say they are semi-professional. They want to continue to participate. So for them, maybe they require the graphics card go up to 1660 Ti or 2060. So let the price band maybe go between 80,000 Indian rupees to 1 lakh, 1.2. And for those who really are professional gamers, they need the 2070, 2080 graphics card, that may go up to 1.2 lakhs, 2 lakhs, yeah, like this. So for gamer, to be honest, graphics card is one of the key points to choose. And then after graphics card is the CPU and also the panel, yeah, the refresh rate of your panel. And yeah, so these are the three key factors for the gamers.
Refresh rate of the panel, is it?
Yeah, refresh rate of panel. For example, if you play CSGO, so how accurate you can click to kill your enemy. It's very important. Maybe just 0.001 seconds, then maybe you are killed. Yeah, so the refresh rate of a panel is very important.
Okay. And these guys who all stream their whatever they are playing and all that, that also requires pretty high-end laptops, is it?
Yes, it's also required, but maybe for the streaming, some of them maybe will directly go for a desktop with a full equipment and with a 24-inch screen panel. Yeah.
Okay. The desktops are still, in some ways, the really powerful ones are still desktops, is it?
Yeah, still there. Yeah, the really powerful one is still, the desktop is still there. But right, if you see over the past 2-3 years, the gap is reducing a lot. Yeah, the gap is reducing a lot.
Okay. Shilpa?
Arnold, we're also, looking at expanding your retail presence in India. You plan to set up over 1,000 retail touch points. Can you take us through your expansion plan?
Sure. So currently in ASUS, because although during the pandemic, we see the demand come from the online segment, because most of us, maybe we don't really go outside nowadays. Most of the time we order from e-commerce, and the e-commerce is booming. But still, because in India, we see, what do we observe? In 2020, even the peak period of pandemic, offline sales still occupy more than 50%, which means even during pandemic, this kind of extreme scenario still has 50% of the people wants to go to an offline store to buy a laptop, which means once the situation go back to normal, we still need to consider this offline business very important, very significantly. So we even during the pandemic, we continue to invest in the offline expansion. So right now in India, we already have 120 exclusive stores, and also over around 700 shops, which we have proper display, kiosks, and panel. So currently, our goal is by 2021, we want to expand to around 2,000 shops to have a proper display of ASUS laptop. Because we still believe in India, when you want to spend this kind of 50K or even 1 lakh, even I think not only India, most of people, even me, till now, I still prefer to go to have a touch and feel before spend so much money. Yeah, so the shop expansion is still one of the key. And also, like I mentioned, even during the worst case of pandemic, still 50% people go to offline stores. Yeah.
Okay. This for all those viewers who are looking at, working from home and all that, some advice from you, Arnold, on how they should be using it in terms of brightness levels, light mode versus dark mode, distance from the screen.
Okay.
What advice would you give?
Maybe I'm not the right person because I watch a screen too much. But I think this is the right question. Yeah, because here, even from our side, in our engineer, we are also studying. So recently, very soon, we are going to release a series of laptop come with OLED panel. As
what
you
is
know,
that?
like OLED panel, like TV. All the high-end TV already have the OLED panel, which can protect your eyes, reduce the blue ray, and also in mobile, the high-end smartphones also there. And earlier, maybe people not really consider to have it in a laptop. And like the question you just asked, right now during the pandemic, you are using your laptop almost whole day. Yeah, and also earlier the OLED was quite expensive, and only in the very premium laptops. So this year, we would like to be a pioneer to bring the OLED to even the mainstream segment. So we want to provide an end customer to have a better experience. Like you mentioned, maybe we should not keep the distance for so close to our laptop. Yeah, but sometimes when you work very hard, you forget, and then you are close to your laptop, even more closer. Yeah, so with the proper display will be important. And of course, like you mentioned, we should not use in the dark mode, because normally when you use the laptop, when you use the screen, we also do some internal study. If you turn off your light, if you work in the dark mode, it's 5 times more harmful than when you turn on the light, because your eyes will be very small, right? So when all the light will come inside the light, your eyes, yeah, so it's more harmful. So you must turn on the light while using the laptop. Yes.
Okay. OLED screen prices are coming down, is it?
Yes, we want to, because currently we just launched the OLED laptop UX371, our ZenBook series in December. Now it is still 1 lakh plus segment. So this year we want to provide in the mainstream segment. So it should be sub 1 lakh and even more aggressive pricing. So right now we will share with you very soon, but this year you will see in the India market.
India market, okay. Approximately what price range are you looking at?
Will be the mainstream. For sure it's sub 1 lakh, and there will be various price band.
Yeah, okay, okay.
We want to protect everybody's eyes.
They are much better, is it, for the eyes, these OLED ones?
Yes. It can reduce the blue light, and for example, for the OLED, especially for the children, because according to the study, compare children and adults, children's eyes is more fragile, it's easier to get hurt. So with the OLED panel, when they reduce the blue light, it can provide a better screen, for children's, it is much better, because for you and me, for example, if we watch the laptop for a whole day, maybe the harmful is maybe 10 points, but to children, maybe 20, 30 points. So if you use the OLED, you can reduce this harmful blue light to the children. So this is also why we want to introduce, because for more and more children to buy it for study from home. So OLED will become one of the trend very soon. Yes.
You think smartphones can, outperform computers in terms of producing content? If you're a content creator, now that you can do a lot of things with smartphones, they're all geared up for high quality video production. Do you think they'll replace computers to some extent?
I think what I look at is, I think smartphone will be become a must to have tool for you to use the laptop, because nowadays you cannot only live with smartphone, but you cannot live with only laptop. So for now the high-end smartphones can help you to improve your working efficiency. Like you mentioned, you can take 4K videos via your smartphone. But when you go back to the editing, you still require proper setup and also keyboard mouse when you do lots of small editing or even with a pen. So for the smartphone, even right now, maybe you have for example, right now the flagship smartphone, maybe 6.2 inch, 6.8 inch. Still, if you really want to do a proper rendering or editing, it's really, really difficult, no matter how powerful of the processor is. The user scenario cannot support to really work with a very small screen. So I think for the PC, still much required, still a must-have a device. And if we only compete the processing power, still till now, PC's processing power is still better than smartphone. But I cannot say PC is always better than smartphone, because I think there's a different purpose of these two devices. Yeah, so I don't see smartphone can completely replace PC or PC can replace smartphone. I think this is still kind of complementary to each other. This is what I observe.
So for different kinds of content creators, I mean, what would you recommend, Arnold? What kind of laptops or what kind of usage?
Okay, so this is also a very interesting topic because previously, if you see till 2018, 2019, most of the PC vendors, we don't really make a particular PC for content creators. Most of us, we just sell them our gaming PC because we thought, okay, yes, you require a powerful machine. Please go to buy our gaming device. Your gaming device is our most powerful machine. But over the past few years, now we realize, oh, it's not like that. They require more than just a powerful CPU or powerful GPU. So recently, if you see, like in the beginning of our conversation, we discussed about the dual screen. So although I say most of people, they buy it just use for the music, for the second screen, but still lots of the content creator, they require dual screen when they work. So not earlier, maybe they have to connect another screen along with their PC. But now they can just use dual screen within their same PC. And also for example, earlier, to be honest, even I was not aware the content creators, for them, the graphics card is very important. For example, earlier I thought for the gaming graphics card, like GTX series, RTX series, is already more than sufficient. Then I realized I was wrong because for them, they require quadro graphics card. Although the gaming's RTX graphics card, certain performance is better than quadro, but there are some requirements. For example, the accuracy when you draw a line, they require quadro graphics card instead of GTX graphics card. So this kind of minor things I was not aware till last 2 years. Then we realized that for the content creators, we need to do some customization. For example, for content creators, they require some light change. So when you use one, it is one button, you can switch, and then your light will be lighter, and then it's a very minor judgment. So earlier we don't have that kind of button in the PC. So now we are going to have. So there will be lots of new things we will customize for the content creator segment. Let it be graphics cards, or let it be like this kind of softwares, or even some hardware change, or even for the panel. Because for the content creators, the color accuracy is very important. So since past 2 years, we start to have lots of machines come with the Pantone validated panel, which means the Pantone validated means the color you see on panel and the color you printed out will be same. But currently, what we do is when we see, maybe we have a very expensive machine already, but it is not Pantone validated. So you see the yellow color on your screen. When you print out, the yellow color you print out is not same as the color on your screen. But for us, maybe we don't care because yellow is yellow. But for them, yellow, maybe there are 1,000 yellow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so this kind of very minor difference, they do care about. So we are trying to understand from them and to adjust our machines.
Yes. Okay. Consumers are becoming aware of these differentiations. I mean, these options that are becoming available.
Yes, I think this become a trend. So not only our brand, all the brands are trying to promote and try to communicate to consumers. These are available now. You don't need to just buy a gaming machine to do it. You can buy this small different segment. You can, if you require this particular, you can go here, you can go there.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's why even we have a different series only for content creations.
Okay. And these are priced between what? Between what and what? What price range are these?
So for this particular is always currently all are more than 1 lakh Indian rupees.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Shilpa?
Yeah, there's a constant discussion among content creators about better OS and hardware. So Windows versus Mac. What's your take on this?
I think there are pros and cons, although I belong to the OS group. But what I see is several things we can see. One is like for the OS device, you have lots of brands which provide you various options. And even there are different device in this group you can choose. And for Mac, maybe you can only buy from one brand, and also you need to wait for them to upgrade. And for the software part, I think at least till now, if you see, even for Mac, their Office, they still use Microsoft Office. So for certain content create software, still they will still require it. Yeah, but still, I cannot say who is better, who is worse. But I think what we see is for the Windows segment, the variety of options are there. This will be the strength for the OS group.
Okay. This the question of battery life always. I mean, what have batteries improved a lot in recent times to take on all this new age stuff, 4K videos and things like that?
Yes. Yeah. So battery life, yes, indeed is a pain point for the end consumers. Right now, when we do a review, even if you go to in India, you can see Flipkart, Amazon, all the end customer review, around more than 25 to 30% of the reviews are talking about only battery life.
Battery life? Oh, interesting. Okay.
Longer battery life. Sometimes I'm also wondering, if everybody is at home, why do we require a longer battery life? You will just connect on the adapter.
Connect it to the power.
But still, everybody on the review is talking about battery. So what we try to improve is, even within ASUS, since last year, we start to have the bigger battery options. There's no magic. Lots of brands are doing this. We provide a bigger battery. So because the laptop size is limited, so what is the changing? Because right now, most of the PC vendors, and we are changing from the traditional hard drive to the NVMe SSD. So when you have a hard drive, the 2.5 millimeter hard drive is maybe like this big size, but for the SSD is just this small. So which means the space reduced a lot. So you have a bigger space to accommodate a bigger battery. So right now you see lots of brands start to come with, earlier most of brands, the average battery size was around 45 watt. But right now we are moving to 50 watt or 60 watt. And even for gaming, recently we even are going to have more than 70 watt or 90 watt battery. So battery is a very important segment for the end user when they choose a PC. So in 2021, you will see ASUS has more and more 90 watt battery in gaming segment. And even for the normal consumer PC, we're also going to have more than 50 watt battery in our device. Yes, indeed, the battery is one of the key decision points for the end consumer.
But how long in the more powerful PCs and all that, how long does the battery last now?
So if you talk about gaming, the powerful gaming device, earlier average, no matter which brand, normally is around 2 hours. And now with the 90 watt battery, it can go up to 4 hours or 4.5 hours. Yeah, I mean, if you play the games completely, and if you use the normal consumer device and the premium segment, I think most of brand now easily can go 6 to 8 hours easily. Yeah.
Okay. But what is your sense? I mean, why are people who sit at home and work still complaining about batteries? Why do you think they do that?
I'm also wondering, but I think what one the possible reason is still in if we talk about India, because right now we can say not in the metro. In metro, I think it's already quite stable in terms of the power supply. But in the up country, still power supply sometimes still a challenge. So if you time to time maybe you don't have the proper power supply, you still want your laptop is always in the full charged condition. And if you fully charge your laptop, can only use for 2-3 hours, it's not sufficient. I think this might be one of the reasons. And the second is also, I think, the mentality, because for the people, if you still use it heavily, you still want your laptop always in the full charge condition, right? And you mentally will be more comfortable.
Yeah, must be. They actually want to just keep it on their lap wherever they are sitting, and
yes.
Don't have a wire poking into it, I guess. Yeah.
Yes.
Shilpa?
Yeah, and then for amateur content creators, buying software is a very expensive proposition. How are you offering them, unbundled deals and flexible payment options?
Okay. So you mean to say the software is for the content creators, right?
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
So recently we are talking to various different software vendors. So maybe very soon you will see that in ASUS laptop, we will start to provide options for the consumers. They can, after they purchase our laptop, then they can just pay less amount and to get the softwares. Yes. But right now it's still in talk. So we target to make it live by this year, middle of this year, to come to the market. That you just need to buy a laptop and go on the software vendor's website. Then they can get a huge discount to get the software. We are working on it. Yes, you are right, because after you spend lots of money to buy a hardware, again you need to spend lots of money to buy software is a burden. So we are discussing with our partners, the software partners, to come up with some options.
Sure.
Arnold, I know you kind of touched upon it, but you just try and go a little deeper. This when you're doing high definition stuff, 4K, things that require very high processing power. I mean, are desktops preferred over laptops? For example, film editors, when they edit their movies, can they do that on laptops?
Oh, yes. Currently, actually, is yes, because for the processors, for example, the edge processors. Right now, laptop, you also have the edge processors, which is for the gaming machines. Earlier, maybe mainly for the desktop. So right now, to be honest, the laptops, the capability, if you are ready to go for the premium one, actually laptop can do what desktop can do. But maybe you need to spend a little bit higher money to buy a laptop compared with the desktop, right? But in terms of capability, right now, if you see most of the studios, they are also moving to the laptop instead of desktop. If you see the gaming desktop market and the gaming laptop market, till 2016-17, the desktop is still higher than laptop. But since 2018 onwards, the laptop is already surpassed desktop in the gaming segment.
Oh, is that so? Okay. Well, why is the laptop a little more expensive than a desktop for the same kind of processing power and all that?
Yes, for the gaming desktop, if you use the exactly same thing, the gaming desktop is a much bigger space, right? So for example, for the heating issues, when you have a bigger space, it's easier to resolve the heating issue. But when you put everything into a small laptop, then you require lots of different technology to resolve the heating issue. This is just one small example. So there are different things. And also for the desktop, when we talk about desktop, it's without the monitor. So when you put the high refresh rate monitor into the laptop, it's another maybe $200-300 added into a laptop. So there are different small things you need to, the cost will be added up.
Okay, interesting. Okay. AMD is seeing some kind of a resurgence. What do people prefer? Do they still prefer, generally speaking, in India and all that, Intel PCs to an AMD PC, or are things changing?
Oh, yes. So if you see the entire overall market trend in India over the past 2 years, AMD is catching up very aggressive. Right now, till 2020, if we talk about only consumer segment, AMD is already close to 20% of the market. But if you go back to 2-3 years back, AMD was less than 10%. So which means they are capturing the market share very, very fast. I think one of the main reasons is about their Ryzen CPU, because to be honest, the performance of Ryzen improved a lot. And also they already come to 7 nanometers. The chipset is already in 7 nanometer, while Intel is still in 10 nanometers. So I think in terms of the premium or the high-end device, customers start to understand that the strengths of AMD. Although Intel still have their strengths, but after this change, after Ryzen come to the picture, now AMD is able to compete with Intel neck to neck. So that is why the AMD's market share is continue to increase over the past 2 years.
Okay, and it's a global trend, I guess, is it?
It's a global trend.
Okay, and is AMD still cheaper than Intel for the same kind of configurations and all that?
Currently, if you compare, because for example, Intel is i3, i5, i7, and AMD is R3, R5, R7, and although both of them they have a different performance benchmark, but if you just use their marketing benchmark, means use their marketing name to benchmark, currently Intel's price is still higher than AMD.
Intel, okay.
Yes.
Okay, Shilpa, any more questions? No, great discussion. Yeah. Anything we missed, Arnold? Anything interesting that we missed? Any prices?
Question, if I may, if you look at Google, Apple, they're all coming up with their own chips. Do you think the game is going to be very different when they start relying on Intel, AMD, or other chip makers?
To be honest, we still need to observe, because this just happened by end of 2020, right? Just 1 month back. So we still need to observe how their performance comes up in the current scenario. So right now, to be honest, we are not quite sure, because right now, even if you see Apple, they just have 1 or 2 series come with their own chipset. There are still some series come with Intel's chipset. So we still need to see the feedback from the end customer to judge. But I think if you see, even for their smartphone, Apple always prefer to have their own chipset since beginning. So maybe this is just deemed to happen, yeah, in terms of the Apple's strategy, yeah.
You mentioned, of course, your gaming, like you said, is gone up crazily, especially during the pandemic. But tell me, serious gamers, do they still prefer PC gaming or I mean, console gaming is the bigger? What is the bigger segment now? I mean, and
this is quite interesting. It depends on countries. For India, PC gaming is still bigger than console games. But for the country like Japan, Japan's console gaming is much bigger than PC gaming. I think depends on country to country. Some customers they prefer to still use console gaming like PS4, Xbox to play. But some countries they prefer to buy a PC to play. So there's no same scenario in every country. Different countries have different scenario.
Okay.
But if you gaming, why PC gaming this industry becomes so important is the gaming tournaments, because right now, if you see for US, Europe, China, Korea, Taiwan, lots of developed countries, the gaming industry is like, for example, like in India, we know how people are crazy for cricket, right? Cricket is a game. So for those countries, the PC games, for example, Dota 2, CSGO, the prize pool is every time that one tournament prize pool is dozen millions. 10 million prize pool, 20 million prize pool. If you win this tournament, you win $10 million. It's kind of unimaginable. So maybe in India, this industry is underdeveloping. That is also why ASUS is trying to invest in this industry. So since 2020, every week we run a tournament in India. But we also try to test and also see how can we develop this industry in India. And if you see in 2024 Olympic Games, now they already added the PC gaming, several, or even some mobile gamings into the Olympic Games. The 2 years back, 2018, in Asia Olympic Games already there. So now even the 2024, they are, I remember 2024, 2028, they are going to make the PC gaming and the mobile gaming as one of the official segment in Olympics,
no? Yes.
It's quite interesting. To be honest, initially I was also not really understand.
But game developers, are they still creating PC exclusive games and all that? Games exclusively for PCs?
Oh yes, indeed. They continue to do. That is like I mentioned, because this industry is already become so huge. You know, I just heard from our China team. So they almost every brand, or even not only PC brand, like even for the accessory brand, they try to have their own team. It's like the T20 in India. Different company will sponsor one team, right? So in China, in US, it's already like this, and they just ask their teams to play through the year, and the live stream TVs are broadcasting to show to all the customers. It's already become really a professional. It's not just for us to play. It's already a professional league kind of industry, and it is happening across the world.
Okay. One final question from my side. When you look at Pan India, I mean, are there interesting differences between different regions of India in terms of laptop usage and purchase and all of that?
Earlier when I just come to India in 2011, there's one very different differentiator. Even we don't know why. In only Northeast and the Kerala, people prefer 14-inch laptop. Across India, everyone prefer 15.6 inch. Only these two states, Northeast and Kerala, prefer 14. We don't know why. Yes. And for gaming, originally we thought gaming will come from metros, but it's not like this. In the T2, T3 cities, or in the upcountry, the gaming device demand is quite huge. Maybe I don't know, many people there they want to play games more than the metros. So yeah, these are a few interesting observations.
Okay.
So our second gaming stores in India is in Bhubaneswar.
Okay.
Yeah, it's in Bhubaneswar.
That's interesting. Okay. Because there was big demand there, is it?
Yeah, there's a big demand over there.
Wow.
We guess maybe because there's one IIT over there, so lots of engineer students. Yes, so that's why the gaming. Because we saw the gaming device consumption is quite high in that city. That's why we decided to have one gaming stores over there.
Okay. Very interesting. Fascinating here. I mean, I thought PCs were going down, but then suddenly, I mean, last year everything changed, and everybody wanted laptops, and for some months, I think a lot of people were struggling to get enough laptops for themselves. Great discussion. Thanks a lot, Arnold. Really nice having you, and hopefully you'll be back in India before long.
Yes. Thank you, Sujit.
Yeah. I hope to see you sometime physically when you're back in India.
Yes,
Okay.
of course. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Arnold. Thanks for India.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Bye.